The decision was made on a Tuesday. Not at a meeting, not with management present, not with Roger Davies on the phone, or Erwin Bach in the room. Tina Turner was sitting in the garden in Küsnacht. It was late afternoon. The lake was the color it is in the Swiss autumn, gray and silver and very still. And she understood, without drama, without ceremony, without the weight of announcement, that she was done. The year was 2000. Tina Turner was 60 years old. The 24/7 World Tour had ended in October. 121 shows, 25 countries. The highest-grossing tour of the year. By any external measure, she was at the height of a second act that the industry had never fully recovered from being wrong about. She could have announced another album. She could have planned another tour. She could have continued for another decade at the same level, with the same capacity, with the same evidence of what 60 years old was capable of sounding like. She sat in the garden in Küsnacht on a Tuesday afternoon in October, and she understood that she was done. She has described the moment with the specific economy of someone who has visited it many times and knows exactly which parts of it belong to the description and which parts belong only to the moment itself. She said it was not a sad feeling. She said it was not relief, exactly. She said it was the feeling of a thing being complete. The specific feeling of standing at the end of something that was exactly as long as it needed to be. Not cut short, not extended beyond its own shape. Complete. She did not call Roger Davies that afternoon. She did not call Erwin, who was in the house somewhere, in the study, she thought, at his desk. She did not call her sons, or her manager, or anyone whose role in her professional life gave them a claim on the information she had just understood about herself. She sat in the garden until the light went, the lake going from gray-silver to gray-blue to the specific dark that Lake Zurich becomes when the last of the autumn light has left it. She sat with the decision the way she had always sat with the things that mattered most, alone first. Her own, before it belonged to anyone else. Erwin found her in the garden at dusk. He had come to tell her that dinner was ready. He found her in the chair she always used, the one angled toward the lake, the one that had been in this position since they had arranged the garden together years ago. She was looking at the dark lake, her hands folded in her lap. Her expression, the expression of someone who has finished something and is sitting in the specific stillness of the finished. Erwin stood at the garden doorway for a moment. He did not announce himself. He has said that he understood immediately that she was somewhere important, and that the doorway was the right place to wait. After a moment, Tina turned. She saw him. "I'm done," she said. Erwin came to the garden. He sat in the other chair. He looked at the lake. He did not ask if she was certain. He did not ask about the tour that could be planned, the album that could be made, the decade that was still available to her. He had been married to this woman for 3 years. He had known her for 15. He understood that when she said a thing like this, in a garden at dusk, after sitting alone with it since the afternoon, she was not announcing a possibility. She was stating a fact she had already finished with. "Okay," he said. She looked at him. He looked at the lake. "What do you want to do now?" he said. Not in the sense of what comes next professionally, not in the sense of what the industry would need, what the management would have to handle, what the announcement would look like. In the sense of what she, Tina Turner, 60 years old, sitting in a garden in Küsnacht, Switzerland, after a life that had been the life it had been, wanted to do now. She thought about it. The lake was completely dark. The garden lights had come on automatically. Small amber lights along the path, the kind that make a garden look like it belongs to someone who has thought carefully about what a garden should feel like at night. "I want to learn how to cook properly," she said. Erwin looked at her. She was watching the lake. "I've been eating in venues and hotels for 40 years, she said. "I want to learn how to cook something that takes all day." Erwin was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "We can do that." What followed that Tuesday afternoon in the garden was not immediately visible to the world. The announcement of retirement came later, formally, through the channels that formal announcements travel through. What came first was Wednesday, a morning in Küsnacht, Erwin at the kitchen table with a cookbook, Tina reading over his shoulder. The specific, ordinary morning of a person who has finished something enormous and has decided that the first thing they want to do next is learn how to cook something that takes all day. She did not retire because she had run out. She did not retire because the industry asked her to. She did not retire because the voice was gone, or the capacity was diminished, or the world had stopped wanting what she offered. She retired because she was done. And done felt complete, not empty. Complete. Tina Turner spent the next 23 years in Küsnacht. She learned to cook. She developed a garden that people who visited described as among the most beautiful private gardens they had ever seen. She practiced Buddhism every morning. She wrote. She lived, as one person close to her described it, with the same totality she had always brought to a stage, but directed inward now, toward the life that the stage had always been in service of. When people asked her, in interviews during those years, whether she missed performing, she always gave the same answer. She said she missed the audiences, the specific quality of connection that 100,000 people in a room produces. She did not miss the performance, because the performance, she had understood on a Tuesday afternoon in a garden in Küsnacht, had been complete. And complete things do not require continuation. They require acknowledgement, and then the freedom to begin whatever comes next, which, in Tina Turner's case, was a recipe that took all day. If this story moved you, if you have ever felt the specific feeling of something being complete, subscribe and share this video. Leave a comment. Tell us what you did on the morning after you finished something enormous. We read every one.